Welcome back to the channel, guys. What we're doing today is we're getting rid of direct injection. Now, the reason we're doing this is simply because this is a race car. We need to build a manifold, and we have to have an aftermarket ECU that can control this 3.6 engine. It's a 3.6 VR6 BLV, so this is one of the higher compression motors. I believe it's like 12-to-1. Obviously, we're trying to make all the power we can. We are doing this in NA setup. So plan is to have a manifold that comes out center feed. You want all that air force just going right into the engine, basically like a power adder almost. There's not many companies that make something for these, and especially an entire manifold, that's basically impossible to get. I did find this company called P Motorsports. They're in Germany, and this is a complete billet runner. So this will bolt to the engine, deletes direct injection, and adds port injection. And what's pretty cool too is they are offset. So being as they're offset, hopefully that'll help better with the fuel atomization going into each runner. But in order to get this on and see if we need to do any sort of clearancing or anything like that, what bolts we need, first thing we got to do is get all the old stuff off. Oh, I forgot also, this is O-ringed. This is just this piece is beautiful, and it was a lot of money, more than I wanted to spend, but I had no other option basically. So yeah, we gotta get into tearing everything out of this. So first thing will be taking off this engine support brace. Take that off. We will take the high pressure fuel pump off with all the fuel lines, because these things are weird. So like, you would think that you didn't have to take off the fuel rail, but you have to, because the bottom, these big bolts, this is the lower fuel rail, and this is what holds the manifold on. So we got to get that out, take all the injectors out. You got all these direct injectors in the head, 6 of them, all different lengths. So we got to get all this goofy nonsense out and in the trash. Then we can see how that fits. So let's get all this stuff off. I might try to sell this intake manifold, because people do like these 2-piece manifolds. It'll help fund a little bit of that. That was more than the car. In the process, we will be getting rid of the vacuum pump. It's just added weight. Vacuum pump's coming off, fuel pump's coming off, and we'll have some blanking plates. We'll have to make them up ourselves. People do sell them, but I'm gonna try to make some myself. We'll see how that goes. So let's get some stuff off. Yep, there's the fuel. God damn it. Now guys, what we got to do is take all the injectors out. I have an idea for what I'm going to do with these injectors to blank them out. I'm just not there at this time, so that'll be down the road. But right now I'm going to yank these out. I'm just going to, again, to me they're junk. I don't need them, so I'm just going to grab them with like vice grips and pull them out, or I'll grab a slide hammer, pull them out. Either way, all of these have to come out, and then I'm going to do a nice clean. I did set the intake flange up here, and it did foul out on this alternator right here, so I just lopped off this extra little hole. It wasn't threaded or anything, and it's not going to affect anything, so I just lopped it off, and I have plenty of clearance. I believe this is a 120 amp alternator, like a Mark IV style, because it has a clutch in it. You could do that. It's a clutch. Basically, I have the biggest alternator here, so when I put a 90 amp alternator, which is much lighter, off a 2-liter, should be able to fit no problem. For right now, just gonna put it on and see all the clearances we have, see how it fits, and get an idea of where we're gonna start making the intake. we are gonna have to put the core support on and stuff like that. Basically, I want this center feed, so it's either gonna be next to the VW emblem or it's gonna be the VW emblem, and it's just gonna be a big ass velocity stack out the front. So just kind of picture it coming out like that. As big of an intake as I can make, as big of a plenum as I can make. So a couple things I noticed. Obviously that's a lot harder to get on, but this bolt down here, can't access it at all. Looks like no matter what, the alternator has to be out of the car in order to probably install it, make this, all that. So I'm gonna figure out something. I'm gonna take this tensioner off, I'm gonna take the alternator off, I'm gonna tighten everything up how it should be, and then see if I have a smaller alternator, because I might as well just do that, because you see the clearance is pretty low, but gotta figure it out. Though you can see though the ports are pretty good, how everything lines up. I'm plenty happy with it. Just got a crappy light today, sorry guys, but it does fit. So what I'm gonna do now is just take off this other stuff, see if I can get a better arrangement to set up to try to build this intake. On this alternator bracket, if you ever look at other alternator brackets when like the AC compressor and stuff like that, there's usually a notch right here. You can see I just had to make a notch because I tried to get the alternator off and I couldn't. I had to cut the bolt in half. But this little teeny tiny notch right there allows enough room to where you can then, now the bolt will slide in and we have clearance, and you can run the bolt in the hole with no issues. So that's a pretty important step. And then another issue that I found, which this is my bad, is the alternator pulley. You can see this offset. It looks like you should use the Touareg one, because the Touareg pulley is all the way in and it's also a clutch type, so you could probably take that off and put it on here. But what I'm going to try to do is get one off of like a older S4, like a B5 S4, A4, the 3.6 V6 kind of stuff, or the 3.0 3.2 V6. They have a completely flat pulley, so I'm going to try to get one of those off of a parts car at work, and if that works, then I'll let you guys know. That's probably going to be it for today's video. You can see I just threw on the core support to see how it'll look, and there's a ton more cutting I have to do. With these core supports, they actually have 4 bolts. So you have 2 right here that'll lock it in, and then down here you have 2 more bolts. So this section, theoretically, I could cut it right here, and have this headlight surround just as it is, and then the same thing over here, which again, this will all be in a different, this will be way down the road, but so you get what I'm talking about. I'd be able to cut it here, headlight fixtures will be mounted in place, and then I could literally cut this from here to here, here. All of this will be out, and then just build the intake. I think that seems like the most logical approach, just because, remember, it's a race car. If there were constraints to where it was going to be a street car and I had to make it, I'd make it fit this, but for me, there's no point. That's probably how I'll go about it. I might do that off camera, but yeah, you guys see there's a ton more work, but we got a ton of work done. So if you guys like what you saw today, give me a like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you guys will continue to check in. Keep in mind that this is going to be a slow process, just because I'm doing it on my own, trying to think of the best ways to keep everything serviceable, to make the power. There's still a lot more to do, but for the meantime, guys, it looks pretty good in there. Take note of all those things I was saying with this bracket. And one other thing, if you guys are still here, the Touareg bracket's really long. I'm going to try to get a 24 valve one, so off of like a Mark IV. We'll see how that one works. But yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one.